Hello, my name is Gary Marr of Glendale Community College, and this screen capture is for my CIS 166AA JavaScript 1 students. What I wanted to do today was to kind of fill in some of the blanks we didn't get to in Monday's lecture on JavaScript functions. So what I've done is I've placed an example. It actually consists of 4 files on the S drive. I'll also put it in Canvas in the week 2 folder. These are called func extension or func example ex HTML. There's a JavaScript file. There's also a CSS file. All 3 of these files in conjunction with a third image file will actually create the application. Now, looking at the HTML first, this is an HTML5 file, as you can tell from the first line. It has actually some embedded JavaScript that actually has some global variables. And again, we talked about global versus local in class. It also has a reference to an external JavaScript file. This references up in the header section. The one that we saw in class was down the last statement before the body. This application, let me run it for you, is actually a little 8-ball application. This is a toy that was very popular when I was a kid, that you would ask the 8-ball a question. Let me just put anything in here. What time is it? And then you would ask for an answer. The 8-ball would then do its things, and a little through the glass in the back, it would show your answer. And the answer for this one is no comment. Oops, typo. Guess again. All this does is repetitively call this. As long as you have a question, it'll give you some random response to it. So it's kind of a cute little way of demonstrating functions. The rest of the HTML you'll be able to look at online or download it to your program. Nothing really terribly fancy here. This is all from CIS 133. The JavaScript is really what I'm going to spend the time on. The CSS is also reasonably straightforward. I'll let you look at that on your own. This JavaScript file is an external JavaScript file, so therefore it's linked to the HTML, but it's in a separate file to make it better organized and easier to work with. This function is called myAnswer. It accepts 2 parameters, a form and then a guest number. The form being something that's sent by the actual form in the HTML, and the guest number actually being a number that's used in the logic down below. It's using a series of write line statements to the right to the browser to form this new image, which is going to have the answer. It's going to show us what our question was, and it's also going to call another function called getResponse, who in turn will then give us an answer back, telling us what the 8-ball thinks the answer to our question was. This guest number is passed on the call to myAnswer, and it's used as part of the logic to determine what the response will be. This getResponse is calling another function, so functions can call functions. This other function called getResponse accepts 1 parameter. That parameter is right there, guest number, which was passed to it when we call this function. And then from that, it's going to say, was this a 1, a 2, a 3, or 4, down to about 10 different answers, possible answers, each one of them having a different response. And then what it returned back to the call point is the actual message. No comment, in this case spelled incorrectly. Okay? So the application is called based on the input tag in HTML. It calls myAnswer. It passes the form information, of which value 1 was the question, okay, or question.value was the text of the question. And then it'll also pass it a guest number. The guest number will then be used by getResponse. It'll look up an answer and flow back to us in a new screen is painting our answer. So again, let me go back to the HTML. All of this is available for you to look at. I think it's all reasonably straightforward, not too much here. You can look at it, let me know what you think. It's using a method post. Here is the input button here, the input tag. There's 2 of them. And then finally, the JavaScript here, and then the CSS is over there. The CSS you can look at your own. This is one example of a function. This function calls another function, and it uses another special part of the function we didn't get a chance to talk to on Monday, called a return statement. You'll notice that return, like else and if, which are all Java keywords, is in yellow because it's reserved to Java. And all this means is this function is not going to just run this code. It's also going to run the code and return back from it an answer, which is going to be used as part of this statement to write the response to the screen. I hope that helps. what I'd like you to do is to go over and look at the W3 Schools section on function. Also, Tutorials Point website has a section on function, and also the New Boston video series has a section on the JavaScript functions. Please look those over so we can hit the ground when we come back after a holiday break next Monday. No class on Monday because of Labor Day. Thank you.